here with us, Andrea Tricco. Andrea is a scientist at Shing, and he's also an assistant professor at the epidemiology, I think, department in School of Dalla, Lana. And Andrea is a friend as well that is working on things that are very, very interesting for the things that we do. Andrea is a recipient of the Early Researcher Award, the Ontario Early Researcher Award, and she has a CHR in an early investigator CHR, new investigator CHR, right?
Yeah.
So we're very happy to have you here, and we're going to do what we do usually every time we have a THETA. We're going to introduce ourselves, and I'm going to start. I'm Petros Petlivanoglou, and I'm a health economist here at THETA. Oh, John.
My name is Lana. I'm a research leader in that station. I'm Alexander Shing, and I'm at leadership as a work developer.
Hi everyone, so I'm Andrea Tricco is my mentor.
Right.
I'm able to infection prevention and control specialist for public health Ontario, and I work with important podcasts and using guidelines.
Oh, excellent. Very good.
Teresa Tricco, I'm going to do a job in her PhD. Julia Shing, knowledge worker at Home Emergency Rehabilitation Hospital. That's all of the visiting to
Lana Program Research Coordinator in the Knowledge Translation Program with Dr. Tricco.
I'm almost at a I'm Nicholas Whittaker, Vice Physician at THETA. We're a multi-modal at THETA.
I'm a clinical policy facility at Mount Sinai Hospital and
Hi, I'm Julia Kim. I'm a public health officer.
Hi, Juliet, health economist. I'm Kiara Sahaja. I'm a research associate at THETA.
Dr. Joe, and epidemiologist at public health area. Brandon Chung, research assistant at public health Ontario.
I'm a research assistant at public health.
I'm Rosie.
I'm Sarah. And then we're young, at Ontario.
I'm Judge Lana, Dr. Cohen, same man.
I'm clinical epidemiologist at Ontario.
Brian.
Ariel organization.
All right. So thanks again, and take it away.
Excellent. Great. Thank you. Well, thanks to everyone for coming. Quite a few people today. So today I want to talk about, does it matter, timeliness or accuracy of results? And I'm really actually interested in hearing your thoughts on what you think about this as well. So at the end, there's going to be some time for me to ask you some questions about whether you think timeliness or accuracy is more important. So in particular, I'm thinking through the differences between rapid reviews and systematic reviews to support decisions in healthcare. So here is a quick outline. So I'm just going to have a bit of background and then talk about some of my current research activity on this topic, as well as some other studies that have been conducted by my colleagues, and then speak to some future research that we're planning in this area. So evidence-informed decision-making, I think most people in here know what it is, so I won't read the definition. But part of the push for this movement is because there is a gap that exists between research and policy or practice. So it takes generally 15 years to get research into recommended policy. Only 40% are implemented in practice. 30 to 40% of patients do not receive interventions that have been proven to be effective, and 20 to 30% of patients may even receive unnecessary care or potentially harmful care. So this is a serious gap in knowledge, and evidence-informed decision-making is trying to close the gap between research findings and what happens in policy or practice. So this is the knowledge to action cycle. So this is used in knowledge translation so that we can optimally take the evidence or the knowledge and make sure that it is disseminated to individuals who best needs the knowledge at the specific point in time. And the inner funnel of the knowledge to action cycle is the knowledge creation component. So in this funnel, we have knowledge synthesis, and that's what CIHR likes to consider all the different types of reviews. So we usually follow the money. So if CIHR calls it knowledge synthesis, then we're going to call it knowledge synthesis as well. And a systematic review is a component of knowledge synthesis. So it's a type of knowledge synthesis that's the foundation for informed healthcare decisions, including evidence-based medicine, health technology assessment, guideline development, policy decisions, and research funding. So systematic reviews have been around for a long time, and our international body known for the most methodologically rigorous systematic reviews is the Cochrane Collaboration, and this is their definition of a systematic review. And doing a high-quality systematic review takes a lot of time and resources. So how many people here have done a systematic review from start to end? Okay, most people here. So, and you would be able to then agree that it takes a lot of time and money to do a systematic review, unless anyone disagrees. Okay, excellent. My job is done. Right, so according to CIHR, they provide us with 12 months and $100,000 to do a systematic review. And if we're thinking about the balance between accuracy and timeliness, a systematic review places more emphasis on accuracy. In contrast, a rapid review is a form of knowledge synthesis in which components of the systematic review process are simplified or omitted to produce information in a timely manner. So rapid reviews are produced on average over 3 months and at a cost of $25,000. So this is 25% of the time and cost of a systematic review. So how many here have done a rapid review from start to finish? Okay, so fewer, but I see all the Health Quality Ontario colleagues. So that's excellent. So we do have some people who have experience with both of them, but it seems the general consensus in the room is that most people have experience with doing the more methodologically rigorous or the more resource-intensive systematic review. And in terms of the balance between accuracy and timeliness, a rapid review places more emphasis on timeliness. Because we usually have to get the results back to a decision maker within a very short period of time. So if we think about the different steps of a systematic review and a rapid review, and we think about what the Cochrane Handbook recommends for us to do for a systematic review, there are some little shortcuts along the way that rapid reviewers tend to make. So for example, if you are going to be doing a systematic review, the advice is that you register it. An example is with the Prospero registry, and you ideally publish your protocols. So we've published about 25 systematic review protocols in the Systematic Reviews Journal, although we know with that last step with publishing systematic reviews is not a lot of people are doing that, but a lot of people are registering their protocols. So I searched yesterday, and there's over 10,300 systematic reviews that have been registered in Prospero. And surprisingly, there are actually 9 rapid reviews that were registered in Prospero. So I was surprised that there are even any. So this is usually a step that rapid reviews may or may not take. And for the most part, we see that systematic reviews, a lot more systematic reviews are registered than rapid reviews. In terms of conducting a comprehensive literature search, so this would be doing at least 2 databases and searching for gray literature, which is difficult to locate or unpublished material. A systematic review is supposed to be very comprehensive and search all sources comprehensively, whereas this is that many rapid reviewers will take a shortcut in that specific component. when we think about predefined eligibility criteria or our PICO criteria, everyone here is familiar with PICO criteria? Yeah, okay. So I won't give a definition of that. So when we think about our eligibility criteria, when we look at the studies, it seems like systematic reviews and rapid reviews both try to do this. And it actually is very efficient for us to pre-specify our eligibility criteria up front, because you can imagine if your criteria are very vague and then you start screening, you might have to go back and do things over again. So according to Cochrane, we are supposed to have a pilot test to calibrate our eligibility criteria, and then we would move on and make sure that everyone is happy with it and are able to screen things with a high inter-rater reliability. In terms of risk of bias appraisal, this is something that is actually in the definition of a systematic review according to Cochrane, so that's how important it is to do quality appraisal or risk of bias appraisal in a systematic review. However, this is a step that some rapid reviews may not have the time to do, for example. But again, we want to make sure that we have a predefined data abstraction form to make it more efficient. In terms of screening, data collection, and quality appraisal, the Cochrane Handbook recommends that everything is done in duplicate, whereas for rapid reviews, sometimes we take a shortcut there. So we might have one person screen all of the titles and abstracts, for example. And so we can say that a systematic review is supposed to be based on the totality of evidence, and a rapid review, if they have taken shortcuts in their sources of information and also in the screeners, they may have potentially missed some studies. So it might not be a synthesis that's based on everything. So more and more decision makers seem to be using rapid reviews. So an example is that over 10 years alone, CADIS produced 3,000 rapid reviews, and ECRI, which is a United States-based organization, they produced 4,000 rapid reviews within a decade alone. So we know that more and more individuals are conducting these rapid reviews, but there's been very few studies to examine the methodology of rapid reviews to see, is there really differences between a rapid review and a systematic review, right? We know sometimes that people who do systematic reviews take shortcuts as well, right? So what are the implications of the shortcuts if you're taking it in a systematic review? Do we take more shortcuts with a rapid review? We're not sure. And so our group as well has been requested quite a few times. I think we've done about 20 rapid reviews over the past 4 years, which I thought was pretty impressive, but then when I hear my colleagues in the States who've done 300 over 8 years, then I don't feel that we've been doing as many rapid reviews as a lot of other organizations out there. So we have been receiving a lot more requests, and we've been trying to now focus on advancing the science of rapid reviews over the past 3.5 years. So in terms of the current research activity, so we were trying to identify and characterize rapid review methods and applications, and as Petros mentioned at the beginning, this was part of my CIHR New Investigator Award, some of these projects, because I really think that rapid reviews are important and more people are using them, but we're kind of forgetting about the science behind them, so trying to advance that. And I wanted to identify the most frequently used rapid review methods that are out there. To test some of these rapid review methods, or one of these methods, so through a prospective study to look at the reliability of rapid reviews compared to systematic reviews, as well as a retrospective study. So this is kind of a research program that my team and myself and others have been working on over the past few years. So I'm going to tell you some preliminary results about the first two ideas, and then I'll move on to the other research later on. So we recently published a scoping review of rapid review methods, that's always a mouthful, in the BMC Medicine. And I have one of the authors here, Wasifa Zarin, who's in the back. So she was very helpful with this project. So we were looking at rapid review approaches, guidance, impact, and comparisons. So I mean, when we say comparisons, I mean papers that have compared the results of systematic reviews and rapid reviews on the same topic. And we use Arksey and O'Malley methods for scoping review. So is everyone here from, I'm talking about systematic review, scoping review, rapid review. Does everyone know the differences between those synthesis products, or no? Okay. So a scoping review is, the aim of it is to map the literature. And so you're trying to figure out what are the types of study designs that have been done, what are the interventions, patients, comparators, you know, geographically, where are they located. It's basically trying to map all the literature out there and identify areas for future systematic reviews. So CIHR funds scoping reviews. They provide $50,000 to do a scoping review in 1 year. Generally, with a scoping review, we don't do a risk of bias assessment because we're just trying to chart the literature. And generally, we don't do a meta-analysis because, again, we're trying to identify areas where potentially a future systematic review would make sense. The Joanna Briggs Institute recently released their methodological guidance on a scoping review, and it's actually very well done. It's well written, and it's following the Cochrane methods. So everything has to be done in duplicate, and it's very rigorous. And we were really happy to see that addition in the literature. So if anyone is interested in scoping reviews, I'm happy to share any of that information. Yes, Petros.
Is scoping review applicable to both applications and methodology? I mean, can you do a scoping review of method and a scoping or a scoping review of
Yeah, that's a perfect question. So I think we've done about 14 scoping reviews over the past few years, and I would say half of them are methodological scoping reviews, and half of them are clinical scoping reviews.
And CHR
yeah.
fund both?
Yeah. And so we like the scoping review for our methodological reviews because sometimes these methods papers, you can't really appraise the quality of them, and you're just trying to cast a wide net and characterize what has been done in this methodological area. So it's a little bit of a nicer method to work with than a systematic review, or maybe not nicer, maybe the word is more relevant method when you're trying to do a methodological review. Yeah. Great, so we followed the methods and we searched Medline, Embase, the Cochrane Library, and we did some targeted searches of internet websites of rapid review producers. And we had 2 individuals independently screen citations, full text articles, as well as abstract data. So we screened 3,397 citations and 262 full text articles, and then we ended up with 100 rapid review papers. So 84 of them were applications, so this would be like a rapid review on a clinical topic. 7 were development papers, so these were papers trying to advance the method of rapid review. 6 were impact papers, so these are the papers that were talking about what was the impact of reviews. And 4 were comparison papers where they compared the results of rapid reviews and systematic reviews on the same topics. So these were all the terms that those 100 papers mentioned when they were thinking of rapid reviews, or when they were mentioning what a rapid, the term that they used for rapid reviews. So we see that there's a lot of different terms here. Rapid review is the most common, but this can be challenging for people to identify rapid reviews if they are in the published literature, and just does suggest that there is quite a few different ways to call a rapid review. We also looked a little bit at the definition of rapid reviews, and again, it was very wide and broad, and very many definitions exist. One of our colleagues, Shannon Kelly, she's from Ottawa, she's doing her master's on rapid reviews, and she's working on the definition, so we handed that data over to her, and she's currently writing that up, and hopefully we'll have that publication soon on that. In terms of the geographic distribution, so most of them came from authors who were from Europe, including the UK. 20% were from North America, 15% from Australia, and then we see quite a few less from other regions of the world. And there was only about 3% that actually reported multiple continents. In terms of the publication trend, so we see that over time, more and more rapid reviews are being published. So that was quite interesting to us, because what we've done in the past is we've done a rapid review for our decision maker, gave them the report within 3 months, and then we would go back, abstract things in duplicate, contact authors, do all those time-intensive things, and then we would submit for publication as a systematic review. I see some people nodding, so I think some people may do the same thing. But usually it takes quite a bit of time to go from that report to the final systematic review, and sometimes I will have to admit that the results are slightly different between the rapid review and the final systematic review. So it's interesting to see that people are actually publishing their rapid reviews, and that it is going up over time. Now it looks like it's gone down, but this is just because this was truncated at February 2013, so that's just because of a timing thing. That was the last date of our literature search for the scoping review. In terms of skills required to conduct a rapid review, so some of the authors of the papers did talk about this. The majority felt that content experts would be important. So, for example, clinicians within the clinical topic area. Information specialists, so having a good librarian part of the team was important by many of them. Having experienced staff, which I would think would make sense because you wouldn't be spending a lot of time coaching and teaching, and they would just know what to do and be a lot more efficient. Systematic review methodologists, so a few of them thought that they would be important. And then even fewer would actually include knowledge users to help conduct the rapid review. So this slide has a lot of information on it, so I'll try to give you a quick summary. So the green here is the systematic review method as advised by the Cochrane collaboration, and then the yellow is the streamline method, and then a red would be saying the exact opposite of what the Cochrane collaboration would tell us to do. So for example, what would be a good example here for everyone? So if we see databases search, so green would mean that you search 2 databases, yellow would mean that you search 1 database, and then red would mean, what would red mean, Wasifa? It would mean that it's maybe no gray literature. They didn't even search for a database. Wow. So some of them don't even search databases. So that's interesting. So we can see here what some of the issues are, some of the streamlined steps in the rapid reviews. So for example, 68% would use a date limitation, so something like in the past 10 years. 49% would use something like we limited to 3 languages, whereas 34% would say English only, et cetera, et cetera. So this kind of gives us a general idea of how these 84 applications are kind of taking some shortcuts in the systematic review process. So when we looked at everything, we found 5 most frequent rapid review approaches. I think we identified over 50 different rapid review approaches, but these are ones that occurred, I think, more than 5 times. So we can see that these are all different combinations, and there's multiple possible combinations here. So I'll just walk you through one approach. Would be to search at least 1 database, to include published studies only, to limit to date, so let's say the past 10 years, and language, so English. Have 1 person do all the screening of the abstract as well as full text articles. For data abstraction and risk of bias appraisal, you would have 1 person do that and then another person verify it. So that's an example of the different rapid review approaches that we identified. So we found that there were numerous terminologies, definitions, and approaches for rapid reviews. We didn't see any consistency in the field. There's still some uncertainty about what is a rapid review, how is it different from a systematic review, what's an example of a high quality rapid review, is that just a systematic review that's done really fast? And you know, again, we saw a little consistency not only in the conduct but also in the reporting of rapid reviews, and there were many areas where there was a lot of room for improvement in the reporting. So it's good to use, it's fine to use streamlined steps, but you still need to report what you did. You only had 1 person screen everything, you had only 1 person abstract it. I think it's really important for us to be transparent in our methods, and we were seeing across the board that, you know, around 30% of the 84 applications were not reporting many of these really important items. So this is exactly what I'm talking about right now. So then we moved on to do an international survey. So I'll talk about that one next. So we were interested in experiences with individuals who were rapid review producers, and I think Health Quality Ontario was part of this work, so thank you very much. I can't remember if THETA was. I can't remember in the end. I know I did ask Murray, but I can't remember if it happened or not. So we were looking at 63 organizations that conduct rapid reviews, and this was administered via fluid survey. And we did a pilot test prior to administration, and we gave a very small token of appreciation, $10, through an Amazon gift certificate for people who did the survey. And we sent reminders to non-respondents every 2 weeks. So we contacted 63 international organizations, and 41 ended up responding to our survey. So we had a response rate of 65%. So I was pretty happy with that response rate for the electronic survey. In terms of the characteristics, so we saw that the duration of rapid reviews was predominantly between 1 and 12 weeks, so within 3 months. The commissioning agencies were most frequently government agencies and health ministries, followed by healthcare organizations. So this was quite interesting. These were the individuals who commissioned the rapid reviews. We only had a small proportion, so 5%, that were actually commissioned by private industry. The target audience, again, kind of mirrors what we were just saying, so government agencies and healthcare professionals. And in terms of whether they used a panel for their rapid review, most of them would use an advisory panel, or they would have a knowledge user board, or they would have a peer review system or a peer review kind of team to provide them feedback on their rapid reviews. So many of the streamlined approaches that the survey, the people who participated in the survey reported, included using a previous systematic review as a starting point. So 92% were actually doing a rapid review, but only of systematic reviews, or they have done that in the past. 88% would have limited it by date of publication. 85% had one person do all the screening at one point in time, and 84% had one person do the data abstraction. The risk of bias assessed by one individual at 86%, and doing a narrative summary and not a meta-analysis was in 90%. So this kind of gives us a snapshot of the different experiences of individuals producing rapid reviews. The reason why, the number one, was because of a decision-maker timeline. So that wasn't very surprising. In terms of the conclusions, so the rapid reviews were conducted in about 1 to 12 weeks, and they were usually commissioned by government organizations and health ministries. And again, we're seeing that there are many different methods used, and there wasn't anything that came out as the method that people were recommending. So now we'll move on to a Delphi that we did. So this was a consensus building exercise, or a modified Delphi, because we wanted to select a rapid review approach to prospectively test in a study. So now that we have the scoping review and the survey, we want to see if there is a method that we can all agree upon that has a lot of good qualities that we could potentially test to compare with a systematic review. So we invited editors, healthcare providers, researchers, policymakers, industry stakeholders to participate, and this actually was part of the CADIS, or the Canadian Agency for Drugs and Technologies in Health Rapid Review Summit, which took place in February 2015. I think some people in the room were there, maybe just HQO. Yeah, so then you guys would be part of these results, so thank you again. So there were about 150 people that were at CADIS, so we were asking them at the Rapid Review Summit, can we come to an agreement on a method, because there is no agreement in the literature or from our survey that we could potentially test. So we contacted 156 individuals, and we had about a 72% response rate, so that was pretty good. We did have a captive audience in Vancouver in February, so that is part of the reason why our response rate was pretty good. So in terms of the ranking results, so we see that approach 1 actually ranked the highest. And then just to give you a reminder of what that was searching more than one or more database, including published studies only, having both date and language limitations, having one individual screen everything, one person abstract and appraise risk of bias, and then another one would verify the abstractions and risk of bias. And then we see that, how everything ranked. So we found that approach 1 was ranked the best. It was considered the most feasible. It had the lowest risk of bias. It was ranked second in timeliness, but fifth in comprehensiveness, and that was because of our limitations on language as well as data publication. So people thought that it was good in terms of feasibility, risk of bias, and timeliness, but it might not be the most comprehensive of the methods that we provided to them. However, in this case, it seems that people are putting more emphasis on timeliness, feasibility, and lower risk of bias versus comprehensiveness. So those were those results. And just to touch on some of other exciting research that some of my colleagues are working on right now. So there's a taxonomy of rapid reviews. So this was conducted by Lisa Hartling and her team. They found a variability in the types of rapid review products. So this is being published in the journal Clinical Epidemiology. So they have these inventories that have been disseminated, either published or have been on different decision maker websites, or also rapid review producers. So an inventory would just be like a bibliographic list of different papers that would be on the topic. Rapid responses, so that would be trying to look and find a systematic review or look to see what's out there quickly. Rapid reviews, which would include descriptive results, a meta-analysis, or both. And then there's also these really cool computer-generated responses that have also been out there for user-defined queries. So this is kind of getting into the automation of systematic reviews, and some of our web developers at our group are currently trying to work on automation to try to speed up the process. So there's quite a few different types of products out there, and that's what this paper is focusing on. There was also a descriptive analysis of rapid review producers. So this was by Julie Policina, who's from CADIS. And she again found no single cohesive method for rapid reviews. And the dissemination depends on turnaround time, resources, complexity, and sensitivity of the review topics, which makes sense. There was also, from our CADIS Rapid Review Summit, there's a research agenda. So they suggested looking more at a taxonomy and definitions of rapid reviews, establishing core elements of elements, process, and application, looking at the differences between rapid reviews and systematic reviews, and that's where my research has been focusing or will be focusing on, evaluating the use of rapid reviews, trying to establish a database because many of them are not in the public domain, enhancing use, and also looking at tools. So how could we appraise the quality of a rapid review, and what is the guidance for reporting and conducting a rapid review? Do we just do a PRISMA statement extension, or does a rapid review need something new altogether? These are questions that people are asking. We have found some papers that look at the decision impact of rapid reviews. So in general, there's a nice survey of HTA organizations where they found that they were influential. It has improved hospital care and saved costs in a rapid HTA program. They've been used to inform reimbursement and disinvestment decisions. And then one of our colleagues in the US, he's a senior author on this last paper, his name is Craig Humsheed, and he's the one who I was saying he's done 300 rapid reviews over 8 years, and he only has a team of 5 people. So I'm very envious because we've done 20 and I have a team of about 40 people. So I'm saying, how did you do so many? So he actually surveyed all of his rapid review target users or audience, and found that he had a high rate of satisfaction and that they found they were promptly, they fit the purpose of what they were intending to provide to them, and that they actually had a high impact on their decisions. So it seems like, you know, there is some good potential for rapid reviews to have some impact. So I'm going to bring back my research program. So I'm going to now talk about 2 other studies that I'm currently planning. One of them is called Systematic Prospective Assessment of Rapid Knowledge Synthesis, or SPARCS. I always try to come up with a cute name. I don't know if it will increase my chance of getting funded, but I try my best. So we're trying to evaluate pairs of rapid reviews and systematic reviews that are on the same topic with respect to their results, their step-specific process outcomes, and usability. So in terms of the results, so I want to look at reliability of conclusions, meta-analysis results, and implications to inform decisions for systematic reviews and rapid reviews on the same topic. And then look at them with respect to their different processes. So how many hours are being spent on each task throughout all the different methods that they would use. And then also compare them in terms of their feasibility, timeliness, comprehensiveness, whether they fit the purpose of our decision makers, and perceived risk of bias. And this is going to be from an end user panel, and I might ask some of you to be part of the end user panel if we get the funds. So, and just to make sure to see what everyone's perspective is with the rapid reviews. So the previous studies on rapid reviews have been very one-off, so here and there. They've been all retrospective. There are 4 papers that compared a rapid review and systematic review. Oftentimes, those rapid reviews fed into the systematic review. So they are a little bit biased in terms of what is the validity of the rapid review. So in those 4 papers, 3 of the 4 concluded that there is no difference between the results of a rapid review and a systematic review, but I don't think we can say that if the rapid review was the foundation of the systematic review. So this was actually ranked as the #1 research priority at CADIS. So people felt that this would be an important study to do. So what we're going to do, it's a collaboration between 7 knowledge synthesis centers. So we have 3 here in Canada. So that's my center, with Dr. Sharon Strauss, Dr. David Moore in Ottawa, as well as Dr. Lisa Hartling, who's in Alberta. And I have 4 American systematic review centers. So I have Veteran Affairs, I have a couple ARC EPCs in there. I have ECRI, who's going to be involved with this as well, and they've done 4,000 over the past 10 years. And for each systematic review that a center is conducting, another center will be randomized and blinded to conduct a rapid review. And we're going to continue this until we have done 25 rapid reviews and 25 systematic reviews. And we want to, again, compare conclusions, meta-analysis results, implications to inform decision-making, and looking at the different hours, the costs. That's where you guys come in. And then I'm going to be running some, where I probably won't personally, but probably Jamila Hammond, our statistician, will be running some adjusted kappa coefficients to look at the agreement between the rapid reviews and systematic reviews. Another study that we're planning to conduct is REMARK. So that one is the retrospective methodological assessment of rapid knowledge synthesis study. And this one is where we want to look at 45 previously conducted rapid reviews that had a meta-analysis and try to match those up with systematic reviews to see if there are any effects of streamlining the process. So we feel that while it's important to do a prospective study, a well-conducted retrospective study hasn't been conducted either, and this is probably much cheaper than the prospective study. So this one, we probably only need $100,000, and we need about $1 million to do the to do the prospective study. So figure we might as well try to do this one while we're waiting for the big money, which I don't know will ever come, hopefully one day. So these rapid reviews were conducted by a health technology assessment program, which I had mentioned before. So for each rapid review with a meta-analysis, we're going to now go back and search the literature and find systematic reviews that were conducted on the same topic around the same time. And we want to compare the conclusions that came from the rapid review and the systematic review, the meta-analysis results and implications to inform decision-making using GRADE. And again, we'll use adjusted kappa coefficients to look at agreement between rapid reviews and systematic reviews. So this is the SPARK study. I'm planning to submit a PCORI grant. So I've already submitted the letter of intent. And I'm planning to submit a CIHR grant in the winter. And then for REMARK, we're planning to submit an Agency for Healthcare Research and Quality, or AHRQ, grant in February. So I'll be working on, if you don't hear from me, I'm working on those 3 grants that are due in the winter. So now what I thought is, before I take a few questions from you, I wanted to ask you some questions. So if I'm doing these prospective and retrospective studies, and you guys are, well, many in the crowd here are, well, first of all, you're all smart. And then second of all, we have a lot of health economists here who are able to look at the trade-off between gains and losses. So does anyone have any ideas of how we could potentially evaluate this? And who wants to collaborate on this? Yeah.
Speaking with health economic language, I think what the most important component that needs to be captured is the opportunity.
Yeah.
That is, like, people that spend their time on conducting reviews, that they could do other things that they will probably.
Exactly.
I think that would be
that's huge. Yeah. The opportunity cost. Okay.
From the investigation.
Yeah. Perfect. Okay, so we'll be sure to do that. Any other ideas of how we can do this? Oh, yeah?
Well, I guess one comment would be, decisions have to be made all the time.
Exactly. Yeah.
Systematic review or even a rapid review.
Absolutely.
So
yeah.
What happens when we make decisions without actually having any
Exactly.
evidence, right?
Yep, absolutely. I completely agree. So for the 25 systematic reviews that we do, we're actually going to do a survey and do some one-on-one phone interviews with the individuals who commissioned the systematic review and ask them, did you get it in time for your decision? You know, were you able to base your decision on it? Was it relevant to what your decision is? Because some people actually think that a rapid review is more relevant to a decision maker because it's, you know, the commissioner will say, listen, we had 2 this summer for the World Health Organization where they said, we need a decision and we need you to do these 2 rapid reviews in 6 weeks, right? So people may feel that because we gave them the evidence within 6 weeks, but we took some shortcuts, at least we provided them with something so that they were able to make their decision. Whereas sometimes with a systematic review, you might not get it done in time for their decision, right? So it might not be as relevant. Yeah.
I mean, so I work at Public Health Ontario,
Yeah.
and we have a very small team, and just to give you like an example,
Yeah.
You know, our clients are the government of Ontario and the
Yeah.
Ministry of Health.
Yeah.
So, you know, Ministry of Health, we work very closely with the Ministry of Health.
Yeah.
And you know, and public health units. And sometimes, you know, they're having a council meeting in 2 days, and that's
2 days.
You know, if we do a really complete literature review, it's going to take a couple of weeks. But
Yeah.
guess what? You just missed like the deadline by about 10 days.
Yeah.
It's really not good enough. So,
Yeah.
you know, we like in our team, we also have a very small team, and so we're always, you know, trying to be relevant for our clients.
Yeah.
By saying, you know, like timeliness is what do you call it? A facet of quality, actually.
Yeah.
It's not like quality and then there's timeliness.
Right.
You know, you have to be timely in order to meet the quality benchmark
Of the end
so,
users.
So I think that, you know,
It's interesting.
really important because
Yeah.
you know, the alternative to not having a rapid review may be like just no evidence.
Yeah.
Just make the decision.
We just make the decision and that's it.
Right?
Exactly. God forbid. Absolutely. Yeah. No, I think that's really interesting. I mean, does anyone from Health Quality Ontario have anything to comment? Because I know you guys are in the same boat. Not to put you on the spot, but yeah. No.
You feel the same pressure that
Yeah.
we're making a decision.
Yeah. Mhm. I think that's generally the thought, right? Something is better than nothing. Does anyone disagree with that? Does anyone think that sometimes maybe something is not better? Yes, Petra.
I think it's the way you approach it is important. I mean,
Yeah.
if you're approaching for policy making within a purely pragmatic context, maybe it's true, but
Yeah.
from an academic perspective, I find this very
hard.
perplexing.
Yeah, I agree. I completely agree, Petra. So when we started doing rapid reviews, I had a really hard time, to be honest with you. And we were doing some rapid reviews for the Ontario Drug Policy Research Network and trying to, you know, do network meta-analysis, which is an extension of pairwise meta-analysis, but it's a lot more complicated of an analysis and takes more time and resources. We're trying to do these things really, really fast. And then, you know, as an academic, I'm thinking, I don't know, what if the result changes and then the government's going to make a decision and it's not the right one, right? So it is a hard balance. Yeah, yeah. Yes, in the back was first. Yeah.
Speaking of something I think sometimes it's very important to tell
Yeah.
when we are doing something thing,
Yeah.
then it's wasting our money for our resources and
Yeah.
doesn't work in the long run.
Yeah. Yeah, exactly. Yeah, so if we can maybe if we could streamline some of the systematic review process so that it's not $100,000 and doesn't take us a year, but still comes up with a reliable result, then maybe we will all be happy with that, right? So we'll see. I'll let you know if we get the funding and if we're able to show that. That would be my dream, to kind of validate a rapid review approach. Yeah. Yes, Elise.
Yeah, well, this is just my personal opinion, but I think as scientists, we have sort of onus to educate the decision makers
Yeah.
on the methods of science
Mhm.
and on the accuracy of our results.
Yeah.
So if it's an emergency situation or a real crisis, I understand the timeliness factor,
Yeah.
but I think often they just wait till the last minute and I think they need it in a month
Yeah.
when you know, if they had put more funding into systematic review to start with,
Yeah.
the evidence would already be there. So I think it's a whole system problem.
Yeah, yeah, no, that's great. And I mean, Elise used to work at Health Canada, so she has some experience from the commissioner side as well. The lady. Yeah. Yeah.
If I remember correctly, slide you mentioned that the industrial function of the decisions, recommendations is helpful.
Yeah.
Given
Yeah.
that I think in the time it's not
Yeah.
given that it takes 15 years, as you mentioned, to make into a decision, I think that the systematic
yeah. Yeah, yeah, I agree. That's where I come from. And then I've been pushed uncomfortably to this rapid review position, which is why I said I have to study it because I'm uncomfortable with it and I have to think about it and see, you know, what can I do to do them well and properly and be comfortable with them. That's how this all started. Yeah, yeah. And right beside, yeah.
I'm from a hospital-based teaching unit.
Yeah.
And I think it's a very useful concept, especially on a local level.
Yeah.
I think this is actually what we're mostly doing in our unit.
Yeah.
We don't have the time, and we definitely don't have the resources
Yeah.
to do the big
Absolutely.
reviews.
Yeah.
So
Yeah.
I think this is definitely a rising star,
Yeah.
especially in the local context.
Yeah.
Context where the resources
Just not there. Yeah, yeah, yes.
What if you know that the literature base that you're looking at is going to be small? So like in
Yeah.
childhood disability, we know
Yeah.
that there's often certain populations, not a
Yeah.
lot of research.
Yeah.
Do you find a rapid review that is maybe more appropriate for that, or does it not matter?
I think that a couple of the rationales had to do with scope. So they said it's just not very many of them, but a couple of people in the survey said that it was a very narrow scope, so we could do a rapid review if only our reviews were so small. All the ones that we do seem to be 200 studies, 400 studies, you know, when we do these massive systematic reviews and network meta-analysis where we have many different treatments in there. So that you might have a point, like if there might be a clinical area where there's not a lot of research that perhaps maybe rapid reviews are a little bit more feasible, or maybe a systematic review is more feasible, but you could do them really quick because there's not a lot of includes. Yeah, if only we could have some of those. Just the lady in the back and then Archie. Yeah, yeah, yes.
Okay.
Yeah.
I really love the idea of rapid reviews, really love it.
Yeah.
And I work for public health and care, it's my colleague here.
Yeah.
And actually, looking at your second question,
Yeah.
clearly, gain of rapid reviews is that you deliver evidence fast.
Mhm. Yeah.
So my question is, if the whole purpose of rapid review is to deliver something fast,
Yeah.
are you thinking about before you can quantify gains and losses?
Mhm.
Are you thinking about kind of conceptualizing them first?
Yes.
Like what we're talking about?
Absolutely.
And then
Yeah.
kind of quantifying.
Absolutely. Yeah.
Because if rapid review means it's purpose,
Mhm.
then
Yeah.
it's just one criteria.
Absolutely.
And if you're happy
Absolutely.
with that,
Then
that's perfect.
I agree.
But in terms of other criteria, there might be, like you mentioned, all sorts of other things, right?
Yeah.
So I think it's probably the best direction to go, right?
Yes. Yeah.
Conceptualize from.
I agree. We have a laundry list of things we want to look at. Yeah. Yeah. No, that's great. Thank you, Archie.
Yes, thank you. I was thinking about this comment, and probably in cases that we have, in clinical fields that we have only few studies,
Yeah.
we might have more bias, like publication bias.
That's right.
So
Yeah.
if we're getting more shortcuts, maybe we add more bias.
That's right. Yeah.
So I don't think the rapid review in this case would be the most appropriate, in my perspective.
So we have to see. So RG is a statistician, so she's a mathematician and a statistician. So this is where she's coming about statistically. So maybe we might have some results in our study where we can look at the larger topics and the smaller ones and see statistically, you know, which one was more reliable, right? So were the larger ones more reliable? We think probably, right? And looking at
Depends on the case.
exactly. Yeah. 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 No, it's a good point. Yes.
I have a question.
Yes.
You've done effective rapid reviews and then later tried to do systematic
Yes.
reviews with some, would the estimates were different?
Yes.
The estimates ever change the conclusion?
So that is something we haven't looked at closely. Yeah. I know that the estimates have changed, but whether... Exactly, yeah. Like you would hope that the estimate wouldn't change, but the confidence interval would get tighter because you have more studies for that particular meta-analysis outcome, right? But yeah, so that's something that we even have to look back through our projects and see, you know, exactly. Yeah, exactly. Yeah, yeah. Then who cares? Yeah, yeah. Exactly. Exactly, and so that's what we're trying to do with the prospective and retrospective, right? So that we can say that, okay, you know, sure, it may have moved the confidence interval a bit, but the point estimate didn't really change, and you know, at the end of the day, the decision didn't change, right? Because at the end of the day, I think it is the most important outcome is the decision, right? So if the decision doesn't change, then can we do them a little bit cheaper and more efficiently? Yes.
But then again, you have to think of where is systematic review being used.
Mm-hmm.
And one place where they end up is in economic evaluation.
Exactly.
And the uncertainty there matters because
yeah.
Even, first of all, it's not black and white.
Mm-hmm.
It's not whether it's effective or not, but it's also the magnitude matters a lot with respect to trade-offs with costs.
Yeah.
As well as it becomes more and more prevalent that future research is going to be based on the uncertainty of the existing research.
Yes.
And if you use the evidence from a rapid review, you might falsely show that there is a large uncertainty around some parameters.
That's right. Yeah.
To this number.
Yeah.
So from a clinical perspective, it might not make a big difference, but it might indirectly affect it through other.
Yeah, that's really interesting. So that's something else that we'll have to think about see if we can try to quantify that in our study. Yeah, excellent. So, yes.
You mentioned the statistical bias with the method. Interesting. When I support pilot implementing best practice stuff, you know, kind of guidelines for healthcare teams. And there's the perceived bias too. The rapid thing may be quick and whatever, we're productive, we push out having guidelines in a year, but then some users would say, I don't trust your recommendations because it's not feral. So that would defeat the whole purpose of being fast but not having good value.
Yeah. Yeah. There's a lot of concerns, but we also see the value of it. It's really a balancing, right? It's really a balancing. So I just want to say a few acknowledgements, and then I don't know if I have time for a couple more questions at the end, or am I going over? 5 minutes? Okay. So I just want to thank CIHR, who gave the operating grant for my rapid review work, and then also a new investigator award. I want to thank in particular Wasifa, who's at the back of the room. Wave your hand, don't be shy. So Wasifa helped me with the slides, and she's just a huge, huge help. Jasmine also helped, and as well Botham, who helps us a couple days a week on some of our grants and some of our ongoing research. And also want to thank the co-investigators, in particular my mentor Sharon Strauss, who's just an amazing woman. I'm not sure if everyone here knows her, but if you don't, I would highly encourage you to meet her one day because she's just very supportive and brilliant as well. So thank you for your interest, and I think Petra said I can take a few more questions. Yes.
I'm wondering, I think, comparing the results of the rapid review to the systematic review is important, but also, you've also described how variable the rapid review methodology is.
Yes.
Looking at different rapid reviews conducted on the same issue, have there been differences in the outcome?
Yes. So we are doing that study as well right now. Yeah. So there's only 17. In the published literature, there's only 17 pairs of systematic reviews and rapid reviews. So the authors of the 4 papers that included those 17 pairs concluded that in 3 of the 4 cases that the conclusions were the same. But now we're actually want to get those 17 pairs and actually really analyze them and see, like, were they really the same?
I'm wondering about 2 or more different rapid reviews.
On the same topic, yes. So we thought of that project as well, but we haven't gotten there yet. But yeah, we thought of that as well. It's hard to identify topics of rapid reviews. I mean, there are discordant systematic reviews, so we know systematic reviews may differ on the same topic as well, right? If the different methods are used or if different PICO components are used. Yeah. No, it's really interesting. So if you want to collaborate on that project, there's my email address. You want to lead that? Let's do it. If you have energy, let me know. Yeah. Great. No?
Right.
Okay.
Thank you very much.
Perfect. Thank you.
Thanks everyone for coming.